Hello students, Eric Magidson here. I am your instructor for CIS279WC Windows Client. Now what you see on the screen here and what I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to actually show it to you in sort of the physical environment. We're going to go over and look at the servers here in a minute. But what I want to show you is the network diagram for your network for this course. So basically, you all are going to configure a VPN client, a virtual private network client that anywhere in the world, once that client is connected, is going to take you through the cloud into our data center. So through a firewall, okay, and into our data center. Now, from there, when we talk about the environment, we're primarily talking about 3 physical servers. So when you start creating your Windows 10 clients and do other things like that, you're doing it on one of 3 servers. Now I'm going to assign you to a server, okay, and limit the number of users on these servers. These are older servers. They're not going to be able to handle the entire class. I wish they would. We have a fairly newer server that we're going to put into play, and we'll see about moving it over. We'll see what happens. But basically, we have a Dell 1950 with 32 gigs of RAM. Same thing here, 1950, 32. Here, 1950 with 24, so I'll put fewer clients on there. These are physical servers that sit in the Pioneer data center, okay? So basically, each one of these has physical network interface cards, okay? So what we do is we create a virtual switch, also referred to as a vEthernet, but we create a virtual switch that allows us to simulate the physical switch and thus gain connectivity. So this part of the network that you see here exists on all 3 servers. It just was going to make the diagram way too busy if I made it up here and here and here. So this part exists on all 3 servers. It's a physical connection. So the cool thing is, with that physical external connection, we have access to the internet, okay? So that allows us access to the internet. Now, however, we want to create a segmented or virtual network that we're able to play on that has different IP addresses as you see here, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a form with the IP configuration that you're going to want to manually put into your server, into your workstation, okay? Now, You've read a little, you've studied a little bit in test out in regards to virtualization and in regards to Active Directory, and I'll actually put that up here. This is going to be our virtual network, and it is an Active Directory infrastructure. All of this infrastructure is built on Server 2012 R2. So basically on the physical server, I've installed Hyper-V, which is a virtualization software that allows us to virtualize servers and clients onto the network, okay? Now, basically coming out of another network interface card into a physical little switch so that all these servers can talk to each other on this side, the 172.16.0 network, okay? Now, I highly suggest anytime you're going to build a network, don't build it with a Class C 192.168. This works fine in our data center, and the reason we did that is it's simple for you all to understand, okay? It's the exact same configuration you do at home. But for a business that's going to grow, this can limit us very quickly to only 254 nodes on the entire network. So if we come over here and we do a 172.16, we can subnet that out tremendously. We can suddenly have thousands of clients on a single network segment. Okay, so we're not having to look to VLANs and doing a bunch of VLANing to make things work. We then keep VLANs for security segments inside our network. Okay, so let's get back to this. We, on this side, have a physical network, okay, that is a 172 network. It connects to a Cisco server, to a Cisco switch. All of these do. And then we then create another virtual. So if you notice, oh darn it, I've got this wrong. I'll have to change this. We go external, we create the virtual, and then our virtual servers, which I'll explain in a minute, and our clients will be able to all communicate over the 172 network via this virtual switch that represents and gives access to the physical switch. So that's called an external network. And the reason we needed to use an external network is we're actually coming out to the physical network. On Hyper-V, and you might learn more about this later, we can actually create a private network where just virtual machines can talk. And then we can also create what's called an internal network, where only the one physical machine and the virtual machines on there can talk. So we could have done that, done some routing out on this side, but the way I've got it figured is much simpler, okay? So that's basically the network, and your task is going to be on the server that you're assigned, the physical server. You're going to go into Hyper-V and you're going to build virtual clients that we're going to connect to Active Directory. So folks, I do think it's valuable. I realize it's going to take time. That's why I'm giving you time on this lab. You are going to install from an ISO image. I'm going to give you a video on how to do that. You're going to painstakingly update your computer. And the reason for that is I'm then going to show you a much easier way to create virtual machines. But I think it's important, and an outcome of this is for you to know how to update your machine. So you're going to go through that update process. You're going to configure the IP address. We're going to do static assigned IPs. We tend to stay away from DHCP on our network. I can explain why later. But then you're going to create static IPs with the same subnet, the same gateway, all that good stuff, the same DNS, and then you're going to attach it to the Active Directory so we can do more with these machines, all right? So that's what it looks like. Now, let me quickly drag this over. There we go. Oops. I'm wondering if that happened in the video. If it did, I'm sorry. I got a new 4K monitor. I'm recording in 4K. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I certainly am. It makes for really great, clear videos. So basically, you can see I'm using a tool called Remote Desktop Connection Manager. You can download this for free on at Microsoft's site. Most of you are going to be familiar, and what I'm going to show you is using your remote desktop connection. So once you're connected to the VPN, you'll put in the IP address for the server you want to connect to. You'll hit connect, and you will see what I see. You're just going to see it for one server, whereas if you notice, I'm connected to all three servers. So let's just look at server 1. Here it is, CIS279WC server 1. You can see both sides of the connection, okay? Notice these say V Ethernet. That's an indicator that it's a virtual switch, and I've let you know it's an external virtual switch, okay? So look, if we go out here and we look at the network center on the physical machine, so we're looking at the physical machine here. Oops, let me go back here. Go to adapter settings. You'll notice we have 4 adapters here, okay? We have the physical network interface card, which I've renamed CIS279 External, lets you know what it is. And then we have one that connects out to Pioneer Lab, which is going to get you to the internet, okay? So for each of these, we have to, in Hyper-V, create a virtual switch that represents the physical switch. But the cool thing is, we can use this virtual switch on all, it's simulated on all the virtual machines that we install on the server. So that kind of gives you an idea of that, okay? So then once you get to the server, if you notice there's Hyper-V here, I tend to come up here and open the Hyper-V Manager, okay? So there we go. We go to Hyper-V Manager. I can full screen this if I like, okay? Now, you all are going to be on the server at independent times. So if we end up with an issue where we get a bunch of procrastinators, some of you may not get your work done if someone else is on the server and you kick them off. So what we may end up doing, I'll probably create a little group and you all can communicate amongst yourselves. I'll tell you who else is on the server. You can manage your time independently that way, okay? I know that's a little confusing. However, there's many, many valuable reasons why we do this and why we're doing these hands-on to go with the test out. If you do the test out and you do the labs that they walk you through, you're learning a lot, but you're not doing it, if that makes sense. You're basically learning how to do it in a virtual environment that's step by step. There are no steps here, folks. I want to be very clear. You can mess this up in a hurry. So make sure you're not messing with stuff that you shouldn't be in. don't go into the virtual domain controllers right now. You don't need to do that, okay? Here's those virtual switches that we created, and then we can assign these to each of the machines, okay? So basically, and there'll be another video on this, you're going to come to Hyper-V, you're going to do new virtual machine, and you're going to follow the process that I give you and the configurations that I give you to create virtual machines. Now, virtual machines by default are stored in this really funky place. They're out here on C. Is it C? Yeah. I got to remember where it is. Anyway, it's stored in a really funky place. What I've done is we've got 2 hard drives in here, okay? Some of you will install within this virtual machine group A. That's where you see my DCs. And then there's a virtual machines group B that's out on another physical drive. So some of you will install one place, some of you the other. That distributes the workload on the server. It'll make sense, okay? So this is the environment. There's server 1. Let me just quickly jump into server 2. Here's server 2. Here's the information on the local server. Now again, you all are going to be given a student admin. You need administrative rights to do this, and I want to give that to you. I want to trust you, but I got to remind you, do not go in and mess around with stuff here. You're going to affect the other students that are assigned to your server, okay? So there we go. We come up here. We go to Tools. We open Hyper-V. You get the idea. I don't think I need to do this. Notice I'm on server 2. So you want to make sure that you're on the right server, that you're in here, okay? And we've got enough memory. We should be able to leave the machines running. I'm going to go in and take a physical backup of the physical server. So if you happen to be on and the server's off, it's because I've disconnected it so people can't get on it while I take a physical backup. I'm just going to use Windows Backup and take a physical backup weekly of the server so that if something does go wrong, we should be able to restore it. So here's those. If you notice on campus, I can remote into all these other servers like my instructional server to do work remotely. So this is hugely productive. Folks, I hope you found this to be beneficial. Again, this is your network. I will give you a copy of this document. I'll make that change here. I'll add Active Directory here. Have a wonderful day.